Hello everybody. Today is going to be a very fun journaling page. We are journaling today on feelings, but the fun part is the feelings we're journaling on are kind of like reading expressions. So I thought the best subject would be a Halloween one. So let's have a little Halloween party. First we're going to paint our background, and we're just going to do black paint. And we're going to do it in a stripe. And we want to keep it going the same way in the stripe because it's going to look like curtains. And it's always best if you're going to use a flat brush. Get your page painted. You want to get a stencil, or you can use crayons and make a wallpaper design, whatever you choose to do. I like this, and I'm just going to put that on the page. And I have a little spray ink. You can use blot ink, you can do all kinds of things for a background, but to me this looks like curtains. And then I'm just going to take my handy dandy paper towel and blot on here. And then remove the stencil. And there we have a little design. So now that needs to dry some. And while our background's drying, I have a book to read to you, and this is one of my favorite books. This is Scaredy Cat Splat. I love the expressions on their faces. These are the cutest little animals. So this is Scaredy Cat Splat. "Mom," cried Splat, "there's a scary spider on my jack-o'-lantern. He's small and hairy with really funny eyes." Splat's voice wobbled with worry. "But you're small and hairy with really funny eyes," said his mom. Splat thought for a moment. "But I haven't got 8 legs," he replied. "If you had, maybe you'd be a scary spider too," teased his mom. Splat made a scary spider face. Splat's mom caught the spider under the glass jar. Splat looked closely at the spider. It didn't look so scary now. It was trapped. "Can I take the spider to school for Halloween?" asked Splat. "We've all made jack-o'-lanterns and everyone is dressing up in costumes. And Mrs. Wimpy Dimple is going to tell a ghost story, and there's a prize for the scariest cat. And I want to be the scariest cat. So please, can I take the spider to school, please?" he added without taking a breath. "Okay," said his mom. "Where's your Halloween costume?" asked his mom. Splat pulled a broom from the closet and sat astride it. "Aha! Look at me! I am Scary Witch's cat," cried Splat, racing around the kitchen. "You certainly are," said his mom. Then disaster struck. Splat tripped over his tail, and with a crack, the broom handle snapped in two. His Scary Witch's cat costume was ruined. "Now I've got nothing to wear," Splat groaned. Even Seymour couldn't console him. Splat's mom had an idea. She stuffed some old socks with scrunched up newspaper and tied them to Splat with a string. "There," she said. Splat looked in the mirror and jumped back in with a squeal. "Oh, I scared myself," he said. He looked again, and this time he smiled. "Look at me," he cried, waving his sock legs. "I'm a big scary sock spider." Splat placed his jack-o'-lantern and spider on his wagon and set off to school. On the way he met Spike dressed as a mummy and Plank dressed as a skeleton. "They're pretty scary," said Splat. Seymour nodded and trembled a little. But I'm scarier, said Splat. Splat made his scariest spider face and growled, grrr. Spike and Plank didn't even blink. Instead, boo! Cried Spike. Boo! Cried Plank. Splat yelped and jumped high in the air and landed in a heap. Aw, Splat sighed. Spike and Plank are both scarier than me. Seymour nodded and trembled a little bit more. I'll never win the prize for the scariest cat, said Splat. The sock spider, the skeleton, and the mummy continued on their way to school. In class, everyone showed their jack-o'-lanterns. Splat's jack-o'-lantern made everyone laugh. Aw, Splat sighed. I never won the prize for the scariest cat. Seymour shook his head. Everyone placed flashlights in their jack-o'-lanterns, and Mrs. Wimpy Dimple turned down the lights and whispered in her best ghost story voice, "In a dark, dark wood, there's a dark, dark house. In the dark, dark house, there's a dark, dark room. In the dark, dark room, there's a dark, dark box. And in the dark, dark box, there's a ghost!" Mrs. Wimpy Dimple cried, and the class jumped with fright. Splat was so startled, his tail whipped around and sent his jack-o'-lantern spinning through the air. And what goes up must come down, splat. Unable to see anything, Splat stumbled around the room. Woo! Woo! Everyone shrieked as the pumpkin head glared at them and made a strange woo-wooing noise. Mrs. Wimpy Dimple turned on the lights and lifted up the wayward jack-o'-lantern. The shrinking turned into laughter as Splat fell out. Calm down, hushed Mrs. Wimpy Dimple. Now, class, who should win the prize for being the scariest cat? Splat! They cheered. So Splat finally won, but how did you like all of those feelings that all of those animals had? So now we're going to create our little Halloween party. And Splat can be part of it. In your agenda, there's pictures with Splat the cat, and there's coloring pages, all kinds of fun stuff. You can use them for your party, or you can just figure out what you want to put on your page. There will also be some paper that you can cut because you're going to want to write a little story to go along with it. So right now I have the people that will be in my party, and we've got Splat the cat, and we have a little princess and a Batman and a pumpkin, of course, we can put up in the corner. A little skeleton ghoul. Of course, we can't miss out on the mouse or the spider. And a mermaid. Always need a mermaid. And of course, you've got to have a pumpkin to carry your candy. So we're going to get our gesso, put a little more gesso for us to use, and start attaching our party people. So I think Pretty Princess has a hat in here too. So we're going to gesso on the back side, and we're going to put the princess on the paper. Now I wonder what could be scaring this princess so much. Because that is some expression she has on her face. Definitely looks scared. this little zigzaggy tail attached. And I do believe I know what's scaring the princess. Would it be the spider the cat has dropped on her? And put a little Halloween bucket in her hand. Let's see, this guy looks like he had a little too much candy. This is definitely a skeleton with a bellyache. Then we have Batman over here, happy as he can be. And Splat's little mouse friend, we have to include him. And the Little Mermaid, she looks like she's tired and wants to go home. And put the little pumpkin flying high on the curtain. And we're gonna gesso across the page. Whoop. And while that is drying, let's decide what we are going to write on our little story. It looks like we'll tear two sections, and maybe what we'll do is just explain how these little characters are feeling. And so let's get out a magic marker. Since it's Halloween, I'm thinking black. And let's see. Well, Batman looks happy. And the Little Mermaid is tired. So she is already sleepy. The mouse looks like it's running for some candy. Let's see, Splat is horrified. I'm not sure of what. Oh, and look, Skeleton has a bellyache. And Pretty Princess is terrified of the spider that just landed on her. So now we are going to glue these little things on with the gesso. And it doesn't matter if they're straight or not, because we're going to put a little washi tape on there too. So let's see what we can find in the jar that looks like Halloween. I'm sure there is something. Oh, there's a couple right here. So this one says, "Trick or treat, happy Halloween." Where is the end to it? So we'll just put this one right there. Maybe put this that says poison right there. I always love polka dots, so I have to use it. It's a little sticky. This tape's having some issues. So I'll get a big piece. And there we go. I think in the corner, I need to make an orange heart for Halloween, or, let's see what this looks like with my gelato. There we go. So here is your feelings journaling page. See you next time.